sorry for the few minutes delay. I already had a lecture here, and there was a little traffic on the way here. I was asked to speak about scientific proof that the Torah is divine. But before we go into it, and maybe you have some questions later to ask, I brought you 3 CDs, courtesy of good people who sponsor it. You can take as many as you need. You can give to others. One of them is the new film I made recently. It's Life After Death. Basically, every person who would watch this DVD will know 1,000,000% that when we die, the real life will begin. And the interesting part is that everything that the scientific world discovered and proved, it's all in the Torah, in the Gemara, in the Zohar, 100%. There's not one discovery they discover that it's not written in our Torah. Written in oral Torah. Torah shebichtav, Torah shebe'al peh. Also, I know there's some Jews, and some of them even Talmidei Chachamim, today and in the past, that contradicted the idea of reincarnation, Gilgulei Neshamot, and they thought that there's not such thing, that the soul would transfer from one body to another. After you watch this film, with all the respect that they deserve, whoever they were, without going into names, their arguments don't even start, because today it was proven 1,000,000%. There's nothing to argue about. It's like proving the color white, color red, any color you want, day and night, male and female. These things can be proven easily. It's very easy to prove. There's life after death and there's reincarnation. There are people who remember their previous life without hypnosis, in details. They describe every detail of their previous life, and there are experts going to those places. They investigate all the information they get from one country to another, and it's usually 98, 99% a match of everything they describe. Obviously, they couldn't know what happened in the other part of the world. They describe who they used to be, who their wife, their children, how they died, certain things they used to do. Sometimes they even take kids and they confront them with their ex-wife from previous life, little kids speaking to a woman in her 40s, in her 50s, and sharing mutual days of their life when he was in a different body, and hundreds of examples like this. It's very good. Also with hypnosis, every one of us, if he still have doubts, can be hypnotized, and he find out that while he's out of conscience, when the video is running and recording him, it will show you who you used to be in your previous life, what language you used to speak, where you used to live, what was your profession, many interesting things. I'm very confident that after you will watch it, in case you had a doubt, you will never ever question this issue. That's one DVD. Then I brought the famous DVD. It's called Torah and Science. Baruch Hashem, we made it in English, Hebrew. Now they're translating it to Spanish. It's already in Russian and in Turkish. It's been translated to many languages. Why? Because this is a 4-hour Jewish seminar proving that the written and the oral Torah is 100% divine. I know all of you are, Baruch Hashem, learning Gemara, so you're having a question. Every word of the Gemara is divine? The answer is no. Not every word in the Gemara is divine. The foundation of the Mishnah and the Gemara is divine. The arguments, the Gemara is including a lot of things, including current events, including history, including philosophical arguments with the Greeks, including all kinds of things, including stories about the life of the righteous sages, Chazal. That obviously wasn't given in Mount Sinai, the life of Rabbi Akiva, or the life of one of the tzaddikim. So not to exaggerate, to say that every word there was given in Mount Sinai, we never claimed that. But the foundation of the oral Torah, you can see that the person was unable to know this knowledge, only the creator of the world. And I will give you a few examples. The rest, of course, we don't have now 4 hours. So you can watch this DVD, Torah and Science. Also, you have it in CD number 1, the entire audio, in case you don't have a way to watch it. You can listen in a car. And many other lectures in many different topics. There's a series here of the whole Pirkei Avos. There's a series of the entire Mesilat Yesharim. Path to the Just. So this is the CDs. Now, I would like to give a little preview of each, and then if you have questions, you can ask me your questions. I find after 17 years that I speak basically every night, once or twice, and travel and go to different communities all over the world, I find something very interesting. It's very possible that there are secular people that, as far as belief, they believe 100%. There is Hashem, the Torah is divine, but they live 100% like Goyim. It's also possible to find frum people, frum from birth, that practicing basically every halacha, kala kevachamura, and they don't have 1% faith in the Torah. It's a very, very common thing, unfortunately, right around here on the streets. There's thousands of people walking here. They don't have any emunah, not in Hashem and not in the Torah. If you connect them to a lie detector, everything they answer will be a lie. They don't believe in Hashem. They don't believe in the Torah. And they don't live according to the Torah when it comes to their heart. They only do it for their parents. They embarrass from their wives. They even walk with a beard and peos, but they have no emunah whatsoever. They totally apikosim. They judge people by the way they look, but they don't understand it's going much, much deeper. That's why I made some of these proofs, CDs and DVDs, for many people from our own community that living like a robots and putting a show and acting, that they finally have meaning in their religion. I have, without, of course, mentioning names, many frum people, Litvish, Hasidish, Faradish, all kinds of frum people. But after they watch these CDs, I got hundreds of emails and phone calls and texts and all kinds of letters that people send by mail. You practically saved my life. My life was, I felt like a dead person from inside, learning, going to shiur, daf yomi, everything, but I never knew if this is the right way to live. But after I saw all the strong proofs, some melamdim that teach Gemara, they still have unclarity. It wasn't so clear for them that everything that they do is 100% divine. It's not an embarrassment. It's very natural that a person would have a lot of doubts. As a matter of fact, if a person just eats everything you feed him and he doesn't use his head, that's not such a good sign. A person has to investigate and ask a lot of questions. The whole Talmud is questions and answers. Our religion is the only religion from 80,000 religions and cults who came after that promote questions. Any other religion does not allow any question. You ask the Christians about certain things that they describe in the New Testament, you're not allowed to ask questions of emunah. You don't question. You have to believe. We have to believe. Spiritual things cannot be proven scientifically. That's what they answer. But in the Torah, not only it's not true what they say, Hashem said in the Torah exactly the opposite. Every word that Hashem refers to the nation of Israel and the people of the world, the obligation is not to believe in Hashem. It's important to have emunah. The obligation is to know. Ve'adata, you should know. V'ida'atem, leman da'at kol amei haaretz. The difference between emunah and yediah is a tremendous difference. I'll give you an example. If a person comes on the street and give you a check, you don't know who he is, and he wants you to give him a diamond ring for this check, would you give it to him? No. The more you know him, the more confidence in him you have. If you know him 1 year, he has 20% chance that the check will be good. If you know him 20 years, there's 80% chance that the check is good. The more transactions you did with him in a business, if you did 1 or 2 transactions, still suspect him. If you did 5,000 transactions with him and he always paid and there was never an issue, it was never late, that's what we call credit. Then you know that now you have 99% emunah in this person, faith in him, but you still don't have yediah. Even 5,000 times he gave you the check, there's always 1% or 2 or 5% chance that one time he's going to mess up and the check will bounce. That's called emunah. What's the difference between 99% emunah to 100% yediah? It's a whole huge different world. The difference between 99% emunah to 100%, which is becoming yediah, the distance between 99 to 100 is longer from 0 to 99. From 0 to 99, you elevate your emunah. You're willing to do more. You believe, we believe in a story, we believe in a Rebbe, we believe in what we were told, we believe what our parents told us, but it's only going to stay emunah. We always will have some kind of a doubt. If we have to put our life on it, we would think a million times before. But once it becomes yedi'ah, absolute knowledge, there's no more doubts. If I have to put all the money I saved in 100 years on the fact if the Torah, the oral Torah, Torah Shebe'al Peh is 100% divine, 15 years ago I would not put a penny on it. Why? I had many doubts. Once I start to investigate, and more and more and more, it gets to a level that today I have no more doubts, not even 1% doubt, that is 100% divine. It's true that it's very complicated to understand the concept, how it works. That's true. That's not a question about it. It's true you need to learn many years to understand how the Torah Shebe'al Peh works. How do we know that whatever we do today, that's exactly what they did 2,000 or 3,000 years ago? It's very complicated. It's true. But it's not impossible. It's possible. And one thing we have to know, it's enough that parts of the oral Torah, we can put our finger and say, this part, this Mishnah can never be written by a human being, only by the creator of the world. This Mishnah was not, no person was able to promise such thing. This part in the Gemara, it's 100% divine. This part in the Zohar, it's 100% divine. The more parts of the oral Torah that cannot be contested and argued, it elevates the level of your knowledge that the Torah has divine parts in it. Like I said, not every line in the Gemara is divine. Don't exaggerate. But it's enough that we find a substantial amount of the oral Torah that was given in Mount Sinai, so we know that what the Chazal, what the sages transfer from generation to generation, it started in Har Sinai. One more clarification is, many people ask questions that are below stupid. Not stupid, below stupid. The reason they ask this question, because they never use their head 5 minutes to ask these questions. For instance, thousands of people in the world, hundreds of thousands of Jews in the world, saying, I believe in the written Torah, but I don't believe in the oral Torah. That's a very foolish comment. Why it's a foolish comment? Because if a person knew the written Torah, that he claims he believes in it, if he would read it once in his life carefully, just to understand the simple meaning of the words, not all the secrets, all the Rashis, all the Midrashim, not. Just the simple understanding of the Psukim. He would know right away there is no chance whatsoever that the written Torah was given by itself. No chance. It had to come together with the oral Torah. There's no other way. Because if you come and claim that the oral Torah is not relevant, or it's not 100% divine, then the written Torah doesn't have any meaning. You cannot understand one word over there. You don't understand the meaning of the words you don't understand. You don't understand the grammar. You don't understand when you have a period, when you have a comma. You cannot do anything. You don't know how to read, how to pronounce the word. Male, female, so many things that it's only oral Torah. Without it, you wouldn't have meaning of the words. Also, you have 613 laws. Tariag mitzvot. 365 ligaments, 248 organs we have in our body. The Torah is designed exactly like the human body. 248 mitzvot aseh, positive commandments. Each mitzvah, positive commandment, belongs to one organ. And we have 365 restrictions in the Torah. Lo taseh, lo. Every love belongs to a ligament. And the Ari HaKadosh, Rabbi Chaim Vital, he writes that when the neshama exits the body, just in the image of the neshama, which looks exactly like the image of the body, same image, same face, same image, same body, same everything. The tzlalit, the image of the neshama, which is a spiritual thing, it already have missing parts of the puzzle. If there are 613 pieces in a puzzle that describe a whole body of a person, that's going to be the neshama. There are parts that are missing, depend on what mitzvot and restriction the person violated. Some people are more complete, some people are less complete. Some people there's almost no image. It's mamash empty picture. Why? Because they did not feel, they did not energize those organs of the body and the neshama. Now the neshama, according to Kabbalah, once it exits the body, we know what happened to the body. But the book of Kohelet say, והנשמה תשוב לבעליה כי הוא נתנה. The soul goes back to the master who gave it. והגוף יושב לעפר כי ממנו לוקח. And the body is returning to the ground, to the sand, that's where it came from. And what happened to the neshama? The Zohar say, that once the neshama goes up to the Bedin Shel Mala, to the court of heaven, Hashem is making a special alpha to every neshama. We call it Chaluka de Rabbanan. It's the same thing like our body, but it's not physical like here. It's a body, but a spiritual body. It's very hard to understand what it is, but it's not a temporary body like here, material, bunch of molecules. No, it's a spiritual body. The neshama needs a case. It doesn't stay by itself. It puts it inside this alpha, which has the same image like your body over here. And it's called Chalukah de Rabbanan. And that's why the people have an image. And people who died, you can see in a film, that died what we call clinical death, temporary death, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes. They all describe, Jews and non-Jews, they describe that they saw their relatives and friends who died all around them. And they recognize them with their images. And obviously, if we see there's a soul here in a room, we cannot see it because our eyes cannot see spiritual images. But in the upper world, spiritual see spiritual, but over here we cannot see it. But animals, for instance, they see it. Many times a person has a dog and he sits in his house and there's no noise, no nothing, quiet night, somewhere in the middle of the forest, and all of a sudden the cat or the dog is jumping and crying and hiding in a corner and is getting very nervous. You can see that the dog is about to get a heart attack. You look around, you don't see anything. But he sees, because the frequency of the lens of his eyes is different. Hashem designed the animals to see things that we don't see. Also, we do not hear what's happening around us. We only hear what Hashem wanted us to hear. He programmed our ear to work in a certain frequency. We only hear what we need to hear for our test in life, the nisayon that we have here. But we don't hear certain things. For instance, if you have mosquitoes coming in the summertime, they have a device. You plug it in, it costs $20, you plug it in, no more mosquitoes for the whole month. Not one comes near your house. You wonder, how can it be? What's this device that doesn't do anything? How it make all the flies go away? So they have a red button, it's a demo button. When you hit the red button, it makes such a whistle, it rips your ear off. You cannot even hold your button 1 second, how loud and how annoying this noise is. The reason they make this demo is to show you what the mosquitoes hear when they come near your house. That's why they run away. But we don't hear it. It's all the time sending them the signal, but we don't hear it. Why? Because our ear doesn't work in the same way that the animals and the flies and the insects are working. In the 1970s, they invented something very interesting in America. What was it? All of a sudden, all the owners of the dog of America saw that when they play a commercial, which means food for dogs, all the dogs in the house are coming in front of the television and they all go crazy. And they're wondering, since when our dog understands the commercial? He's talking about the food, he's describing the food of the dogs, but how do they understand what he's talking about? Nobody knew the secret. Years later, they found out that inside the commercial, they made a noise that calling the dogs and makes them very excited. We couldn't hear it. A person watched the commercial, doesn't see anything, but that called all the dogs in every living room in the United States to come and make their owner buy them the food, and they made millions of dollars thanks to this trick, and later they made it illegal. Today it's illegal to do all kinds of things in commercials. That also in commercials, there are fast pictures that a person cannot see because his lens cannot detect all these fast images that they have. But we have muda and we have tat muda. We have the muda and we have the conscious and we have subconscious, which means the conscious not always detecting what we need to detect. some of the information around us go automatically to a back door. I give you an example. They had in Israeli television a trick. One guy, he stands in front of everyone and he says, we're going now to commercials. After the commercials, I'll tell each one of you what number you picked up. You have to pick up a number, any number you want. There's millions of people, everyone in different place. How everyone will pick up the same number? He said, after we come back from the commercial, I will tell each one of you what number you picked up. So one person sent me an email. I look at this 1 minute commercial, 30-second commercial, and I was picking up a number. I say, I wonder now, soon it's going to come. Right after that, he came, and he says like this, the number that you picked up is 23. And I was thinking to myself, how is it possible? I picked up 23. How did he know? Later, I let other people watch it. They all picked up 23. How can it be? Well, he has a divine power, this person? No. It's a simple trick. While he was talking, he was standing in the middle of a street in Tel Aviv, and hundreds of people were walking behind him. But you don't pay attention to the people. You're looking at him when he say pick up a number, so you're focusing on him. But the neshama, the soul, is recording every beep, every image, every movement. From the time of Adam HaRishon, all the gilgulim of the neshama in all hundreds of different bodies, every beep from 800 years ago, every forbidden image that you ever saw, everything is recorded in your neshama. And with hypnotizing a person, you can get it out. And now we begin to understand what does it mean, לא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם. That even if you become a Baal Tshuva, cannot delete it from the record of everything is recorded. And that's influenced the behavior of a person, everything he ever saw. All his midot, personality, it's all affected from previous life. People who eat non-stop, they hypnotize them. So what can I do? I just finished eating an hour ago, I'm hungry again. This desire doesn't stop. They hypnotize them, they find out they died on a boat in the middle of the ocean. The boat hit a rock, and water went in, all the flour, all the rice, everything got wet, and they stayed in the middle of the ocean, and they starved to death. Something by him, psychologically, making him fear. He doesn't know that it comes from it, that he is going to die, and automatically the body sends protection. You have to eat not to die. But he doesn't know that it's that. It comes from his subconscious. There's many, many other examples like this, but of course we don't have time to describe. So I was wondering, how did I pick up number 23? And what happened is, after the commercial, he explained the trick. You see, just when I told you, the second that I told you picked up a number, now they do it in slow motion. One person with a shirt, basketball shirt, number 23 on his back, just passed that exact second behind him. And automatically, the second that I chose a number, this is the number who entered my computer. And everyone, almost, I don't know the whole people in the world, but every people I show, everyone picked up the same number. This is it's a big revolution here. Because you can see that you can affect the choices of the people based on where you put them. Today, they know in business that if they want to make you a sale, they have special rooms and they color the pictures in different colors, and the colors around you affecting your choices. Very interesting. Music affecting the behaving of people. You take a person that is very depressed, you play very happy music, you become a newborn. Wow, right, though he's very happy. Or the other way around. The person is very happy, you play music that depress, right, the way he loses all his energy. And we have a proof in the Torah that Shaul HaMelech used to call David HaMelech to play for him every time he felt down. He came to play for him and elevate his soul. There's many other examples, but this is it. Now let's go back to what I started to say about the Torah. How is it possible that the written Torah will be given without the oral Torah? The answer is not possible. Why? If you take the 613 laws, try to understand one of the Taryag mitzvot without going into the Mishnah, the Gemara, and the rest of the books that came as the Torah Shebe'al Peh. You won't be able, I'm sorry about that, you won't be able to understand one example how to do it. For instance, the Torah say you have to make yourself tefillin. All over the world you go, you'll find the same tefillin. Hasidim, Polish, Russian, Yemenite, Persians, Israeli, everyone has tefillin, black bags, same places. 99.8% of the tefillin is identical, with some minor differences. But generally, you never found a yellow tefillin. You never found a red tefillin. You never found a tefillin made from a piece of paper. How everyone knows how to make tefillin? There's more than 1,000 instructions how to create tefillin from the time you kill the cow until it becomes tefillin. One of them you do incorrectly, this tefillin is pasul. Spend $1,500 on it. And one little tiny detail is not 100% as the instruction of the tefillin, and it's not kosher. Where all these instructions are, not one of them is in the written Torah. The written Torah says, "Vaya leot al yadecha." It should be a sign on your hand. What sign? Maybe it's a tattoo, maybe it's a watch, maybe it's a sticker, maybe it's a scribe, whatever. Maybe you write you take ink and you write, "Hashem, I love you." How do you know what the sign is? Where does it say in the written Torah the word tefillin? It doesn't say. Where does it say where on the hand? Where does it say on which hand? Where does it say if it's in the day or in the night? Where does it say if a goy allowed to prepare tefillin or not, or a woman? Where does it say from what age? Nothing. There's hundreds or perhaps thousands of instructions about one mitzvah called tefillin. Not even one of them is mentioned in the Torah, and it's needless to say that it's one of the 3 covenants. Shlosha britot, Shabbat, Shin, Bet, Tav, Shin, Shabbat, Bet, Brit, Tav, Tefillin. Shabbat, Shin, Shabbat, ושבת יסב ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות לשבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל אות. The word אות means a sign, an agreement. אות היא לעולם. תפילין והיה לאות על ידיך. ברית מילה והיה לאות בבשר עורלתכם. 3 times the word אות was written in the Torah. אות means a sign. This is a sign. You have a store, you put a sign, everyone knows you're in business. You take off the sign, there's no more business. You can have merchandise, have whatever you want inside, nobody cares. There's no sign. The store is out of business. So Hashem gave us 3 covenants. And we have a rule, al pi shnei edin yakum davar. Every day you have to have 2 of them. So during the week, we have circumcision and we have tefillin. Shabbos is not tefillin. Shabbos come to replace tefillin. Has to have 2 testimony on a person that is a kosher Jew. That's the al pi shnei edin yakum davar. But anyway, where does it say how to keep Shabbos in the Torah? One of the 39 restrictions of Shabbat is not mentioned in the written Torah, besides, lo tevaru esh b'chol moshvotechem, and there's a hint about taking from Reshut Rabim and Reshut Yachid, from Machane Leveya with Moshe Rabbeinu. That's by a hint, not direct instruction. The only instruction about Shabbat, lo tevaru esh b'chol moshvotechem. Do not create fire. Technically, from the written Torah, that's it. Don't smoke, don't light fire, you're good. Everything else is permitted. And this is a covenant that has an execution, punishment by the cruelest way of execution. You know what it means, stoning? Do you ever read the steps before they stone a person to death? Horrible way to die. And Hashem said, Mechalel Shabbos is 100% a goy. It's written 7 different places in Shulchan Aruch. Mechalel Shabbos אינו מצטרף לשום דבר שבקדושה. נגע ביין, it's yain nestech. You're allowed to lend him money and charge him interest like a goy. You don't bury him with Shomrei Shabbos. His testimony is dismissed. You cannot accept from him. You don't tell him a secret. So many things. Mamash like an Ahmed. Mamash, 100%. There's no difference. You want to bring a sacrifice, you don't accept from him. An Arab brought a sacrifice to Bet HaMikdash in the old days. You can accept from him, the Rambam right, but Mechalel Shabbos, you don't accept it from these Meshumad. Where all this in the written Torah? Is it possible that the creator of the world gives a book and he said that someone who will violate my Shabbat is deserved to execute it like this based on 2 witnesses, and it doesn't say nowhere in the written Torah all the details of Shabbos? It says, Lo ta'aseh kol melacha. How do we know what melacha is? There is thousands of ways to describe what melacha is. I'll give you another example. Brit Milah, circumcision. All it says, Vaya leot bebesar orlatchem. You have to sacrifice every boy in the 8th day. To circumcise. How does it say to circumcise? It doesn't say what tool, where to cut. Nowhere in a written Torah it says where Orla is. Nowhere. If Moshe Rabbeinu brought only the written Torah, according to some genius who ask before they think, so based on that, he brought the written Torah, and now they open the written Torah, and Moshe said, we have to circumcise our babies in the 8 days. So everyone asked him, what does it mean to circumcise? He said, we have to cut something that called Orla. So they asked, okay, where is the Orla? Moshe said, I don't know, it doesn't say. So one say, okay, let's decide where Orla is. So Reuben come, he said, that's Orla. Well, we can cut it, we can manage without it. Then somebody, Shimon Sam, said, no, it means this, there, it's growing, that's Orla. Get rid of it, it's bad. Then one person said, no, it's the nails. We have to cut over here. One person said, no, it didn't really mean in a body, it's metaphoric. It's not literal. You cut something on the tree, that's Orla. Not. But it say Besar. Right away there would be 5,000 circumcisions. We wouldn't know today. But the Yemenite came from Yaman to Israel. Saadia made a circumcision to Zechariah. He cut where everyone else cut. The Polish Jew came from Poland to Israel. He made Brit Milah, same place. Persian Jew. There's no internet, no telephone, no television, no mail, no way to communicate. Jews came from all over the world. Everyone does the same Brit Milah, same place. How, if there was no oral Torah, how all of a sudden there's such beautiful conspiracies that people all over the world knows to do thousands of oral laws when there is no oral Torah? It's such a stupid claim. People who make this claim obviously don't have anything in their head. I'm sorry to say it. If they only learn 5 minutes, the written Torah, forget the oral Torah, they would read in the written Torah that it say, Ele HaTorot, more than one. Torot, mean plural, more than one. התורה והחוקים ולוחות האבן אשר שמתי ביד משה והר סיני. There's a description of few things, and obviously there's no way to understand one mitzvah from the written Torah without it. Now we move on. Let's go to step 1. The creation of the world. The creation of the world. We'll make it quick. We have a rule. If there is the creation has to have a creator. We never found anything was organized and created symmetric, with colors, with size, equal size. And we never found anything in a creation that was created by itself. Did we ever found a random explosion that created a video camera, or an eye, or even a rock that is round, exactly round, like a ball? And we see someone design it. It cannot be. If you put 1 billion explosions, a round rock, 100% symmetric, will never come. It will only gonna be a little bit similar, but it can never be 100% measure 100%, never. If you make 1 billion attempts, you will never create anything in a history which is sophisticated by a random explosion. Nobody ever saw such thing. All these scientists who claim that the world is mutations, an explosion, and one thing developed, and then there was another one, and they all somehow got connected together. It's such a foolish claim. You ask these scientists, if that was the case, every explosion should have leftover. An explosion creates a lot of garbage. Where is all this evidence? Where is all the attempts? Another explosion, and another explosion, and another one, until one of them create a world. But where is all the other ones? Where are they? There's none. And if to create one species, there's more than 2 million different animals, and they all connect to each other. One depends on the other, the way the nature works. So we have to have 2 million explosions who create the first species, and all the 2 million explosions should comply with each other in a wonderful way. And that's only animals. And then oxygen, and water, and galaxies, and the movements of all the stars. One answer I have for you. If somebody asks you, how do you know how the world was created, without going into the Torah, you only tell them one thing. This is the story. This is a mashal. You use this mashal. If we go now to the ocean, 72% of the world is water. 72%, almost 3/4 of the world is water, and it's very, very deep. all the way from here to Manhattan, 12 kilometer depth. And it's very, very, very large. You know, you stand by the ocean, it's endless. If we take a dime or a quarter, a dime, and we throw it somewhere in the middle of the ocean, from a plane, you throw a dime and it fell and it landed all the way in the bottom of the ocean. Now we go again with the plane and we have to throw another dime. And this dime must fall exactly on top of the first dime that is somewhere in the middle of the ocean. How many attempts you think we would need to be able to throw a second dime to fall somewhere in the middle of the ocean exactly on the first one? How many attempts? Trillion? Huh? Endless. You try trillions of times, you'll never be able to do it. That's how difficult it is to believe that the world was created by itself. Why? I'll tell you why. If you know there's a Milky Way. The Milky Way have 9 stars. 9. The galaxy of the Milky Way, it's called Shvil HaChalav. It looks like a shape of a banana. Like half a circle. It goes like this. If you look at the order of them in comparison to the sun, they're all designed in a beautiful way, but only one of the stars was moved from its original place to the right. It was put somewhere in the middle of space. If Earth, the place where we live, would be where it's supposed to be, according to the shape of the Milky Way, we would be burned here before the world was created. It would be going on fire. No one would be able to survive here. The world would be burning because it's too close to the sun. The only way the Earth can survive and people can live and breathe and eat and drink and do whatever they do here with about 70, 80, 90 degrees average, it's to put Earth only where it is. Now remember, the ocean is huge, but it's not even 1% of space. Space is endless, endless. You can travel millions of years of light and you will never finish space. So the only place that the Earth was able to be placed is only where it is. Much, much harder than the dime parable that I gave, the mashal with the dime. It's only in one place in the entire endless place Earth could be. If you move it 1% further or 1% closer to the sun or put it in any other galaxy, it would be hundreds of degrees below zero or thousands of degrees above zero. There could not be any life. Only where it is, life is perfect as Hashem described it. Now, is something like this can be done by itself? Of course not. So what we know, if there is a creation, there is a creator. Now we have rule number 2. The more sophisticated is the creation, it indicates about the ability and the brilliance of the creator. To create a little notebook, you don't have to be a genius. To create a video camera, you have to be a lot smarter. And a satellite, a lot smarter. And the replacement for an eye, you have to be a lot smarter. So it goes that the more sophisticated it is, it gives us appreciation to the creator. Now, did we ever find in history any creation that was made by anyone you want, that was designed and built for no purpose? Show me one thing in history. Table, walls, lights, bottles, papers, whatever you have. Show me one creation that was made without a purpose. This bottle has a purpose? Of course. It has to hold water, that's why there's no holes. Why they make cuts in the bottom? That it will be stable. Why they make this like this? That it would not leak. And why they made it over here narrow? That will be easy to hold. All these things, they made room here to put a sticker that they can sell more bottles. They thought a lot about it, even though it's a 1 penny product. You know how much they thought before they made it? From the time they decided to make plastic bottle until it became plastic bottle? How many people thought about it? How many times they draw it and they try and they made attempts until you have 1 penny product? Needless to say, it is world, right? So there's nothing that was ever made without a prior plan, a prior Purpose. Comes the next question. Now we know the world has a purpose, and we review the world, and we find out that we are the most sophisticated machine on earth. Nothing from the 2 million different kinds of animals is stronger and smarter than us. We control nature, we control the trees, we control the rocks, we control everything here. We use nature for our benefits. Now, is it possible that the creator of the world put us here without telling us about our purpose? Did you ever find a device or something that was made without a manual, without instructions, how to use, what to do, what not to do? If that's the case, what's the purpose of the creation? Now, when we review ourselves, we know we're different than all the animals. We have free choice, and they don't have. They live with instinct. You put fire, they run away. You put water, they run in. They always will behave the same, always. There's no, you cannot tell the lion, do me a favor, wait 5 minutes before you kill the zebra. We didn't finish taking pictures. There's nobody to talk to. But a man, you can tell him, hey, can you wait 10 minutes? We'll done, and then you do whatever you want. He has common sense. He put it on a scale in his head, and he knows to do, not to do, what am I losing, what am I gaining? Okay, so he has common sense. So since we are different than all the animals, and we choose what we do, we are subject to reward and punishment. There's no jails for lions. There's jails for people. Even people all over the world who claim they don't believe in God, and people who claim we don't believe in the Torah, and all these geniuses that say we are atheists, if somebody kills his son, what's the first thing he does? He takes everything he can to put the murderer in the electric chair. Why? You just say we don't choose. You just say we're animals. You just say you don't believe in anything. What do you want from the murderer? He's a robot. Someone is moving him with remote control. Why you don't want to give the lion an electric chair? Because you understand he's a lion or a dog. Why are you running after the murderer? I give you an example. The Muslims and the Greeks, they have a big dilemma. What's the dilemma? They say if God knows the future like the Jews claim, how do we choose? So the Muslim came with a conclusion. That means that God already decided for us everything. It's all min Allah, everything from God. So why they punishing people? Why they execute people? If a person is a robot, leave him alone. You just say that it's all decided. So what do you want from us? The Greeks, they have the same problem. How is it possible? So the Greeks say, okay, in that case, God doesn't know the future. Because it cannot be he knows the future and we still choose. What does the Torah say? The knowledge of Hashem about the future, it's an external knowledge. It's nothing to do with your choices. Just because I read your mind and I know what you're about to do I influence your actions? No, you choose what to do. But it's a little bit deeper than that. Did you ever think that in the minute that Hashem created the world almost 6,000 years ago, since Hashem is not subject to time, time exists only where material exists. Right? Einstein became very famous after he published this theory who became a proof that time only exists where material exists. There you have material, you have time. No material, no way to measure time. The Ramban, 700 years before Einstein, already spoke about it clearly. But nobody learns about Ramban in college. So they know about Einstein. But this is something that the Torah speaks about many, many times. Only, what's Bereshit bara Elokim? Chazal explained, Bereshit means creation of time. When Hashem went like this and material was created, the timer began to work. That's what it means, Bereshit. Somebody asks you, what's the meaning of the word Bereshit? Because if there's no material, there's no beginning. Beginning and end is only where material exists. Bereshit bara Elokim, that time started to work. Material was created, the time started. You cannot separate time from material. Everything we do in our life is subject to time. You cannot separate time from our life. The earth is going around 1,700 kilometers an hour. Not a second faster, not a second slower. From the time the world was created, exactly 1,700 kilometers per hour. What would happen if sometimes the energy of the earth will become a little bit slow? It's tired. It needs to rest. So instead of 1700, they will go 1650. All the watches will go to the garbage. Just bought a Rolex, $50,000. And he has to go to the garbage because he doesn't tell time anymore, because time is changing. But who cares about the Rolex? Judaism will be destroyed. If Earth would go 1 meter faster, 1 meter faster every hour, 1 meter, or slower, Judaism would be over. No more Zosman Kriyat Shema, no more, we don't know, circumcised when, what, when it's going to be night. Sometimes it becomes night at 4, sometimes at 5. It's slowing down. Sometimes it's going too fast. One time you get up in the morning, you didn't finish Shachris, it's night already. Why? He drank too much coffee, so he goes on high speed. Sometimes, no, he decided to move slow. There's no Torah. Everything is dismissed. So the only way you can practice the Torah is to have perfect action, perfect performance in every detail in the creation. But not only that, if Chas v'Shalom, we say, Ine lo yanu velo yishan shomer Israel. There's trillions of transactions every second in the world. Trillions. If Reuven gave a smack to Shimon, one little smack, and that's the only smack that Hashem didn't see. Everything else he see. If he missed one smack, the world will be over. All the justice system, everything would collapse. Because there's not one transaction by itself. It's all connected to trillions of other transactions. Let me give you an example. Your landlord gave you, your tenant gave you a check, you put it in a bank, you gave 5 different checks to 5 different people, 2 days later you find out the check bounced. Mistake. He didn't have enough money, the check bounced. One of the people who gave a check, with that check, he was supposed to pay for something very important, and his check bounced, and he lost that something, and he went to another person, and to another, he went all the way to China. And one Chinese killed his wife because his check bounced, and it started here in Borough Park, and you don't see. It's called the butterfly effect. It's changed the entire world. People are dying, people are killing. Someone can drop an atomic bomb from a lousy check. And you don't see the connection. It's one thing leads to another. So if Hashem missed one transaction, he cannot judge the world fairly ever again. Not only today, ever again. Ever again. So to run such a creation, you have to be not perfect, super perfect. Otherwise, there's no other way to run this world. Let me give you a few more examples. We have few halachot in the Torah that we do it, but we don't really think what we're doing. For instance, we have more than 40,000 different kinds of fish. Most of them are not kosher. Few of them are kosher, very few. 20, 30 different fish. That's it. The rest is everything not kosher. Shark, not kosher. Dolphin, this, seafood, almost nothing is kosher. The Torah had 2 ways to describe to us what we're allowed to eat, what we're not allowed to eat. The long way and the short way. The long way, Hashem had to write in the Torah 40,000 different names of fish. Kosher, not kosher. Kosher, not kosher. Kosher, not. Obviously, nobody would read it. Who would read 40,000? And then 2 million different animals, and then the birds. It's not realistic. So everything in the Torah, it's very brief. Like math, a formula. Al pi shne edim yakum davar. You need 2 witnesses. Fins and scales, kosher. No fins or scales or both of them, not kosher. That's it. The names is irrelevant. You can name any name you want. The names doesn't make it kosher. So now, a person goes in the middle of the ocean, he caught a fish. He sees scales, he sees fins, Baruch Hashem, let's eat it. Comes the oral Torah, speaking about this pasuk, את זה תאכלו מכל אשר במים, כל אשר לא קשקשת וסנפיר תאכלו. Comes the oral Torah, the Gemara explain, the Mishnah explain, כל שיש לו קשקשת, יש לו סנפיר. ויש שיש לו סנפיר, ואין לו קשקשת. The second half of the sentence, you don't need to be ashamed to know it. You found a shark, you found a dolphin, you have fins, and smooth body. Every person could write it. But the first half of the sentence, only the creator of the world was able to write. Nobody else. What does it say? כל שיש לו קסקסת, everything that have scales, guaranteed to have fins. Which means, if a person is in jail, and they give him a raw fish, half, cut by half, say, here, Jew, here, cook it for yourself, eat. He doesn't know if it's kosher or not. He looks at the half a fish. You see the head, and you see some scales, 2, 3 scales he saw. He doesn't see the fins. No, there's no fins here. You're allowed to eat it. Where is the other witness? It's not here. Don't worry. The oral Torah promise, if you have scales, don't worry. Fins were there. Don't see it, doesn't matter. For sure it's there. Technically, we have a rule. If we find one mistake in the Torah, it would make us understand that at least a part of the Torah is not divine. Maybe the rest is, but there are human parts merged into the Torah. People modify the Torah. They added some things and they destroy the Torah, because if you add one letter to the Torah, it's not kosher. You can put it in a suitcase and send it with a lal. One letter is missing, it's not kedusha. Or extra letter. It's mamash, it's pasul, cannot make bracha on it. So what's going on here? If we find one mistake in the written Torah or in the oral Torah, what we claim that we got from Har Sinai, that will put everything else that we do in a serious jeopardy. It would make us unable to trust Hashem ever again. Why? Because if we find in the divine book, what we call Torah means in Hebrew, ora'ah, in Lashon Kodesh, Torah means ora'ah, instructions. If in a book of instructions of the creator of the world we found one mistake that we see in our eyes that it's a mistake, how can we rely on all the other instructions? He already proved to us that he's able to make mistakes, or the book that he gave was modified. So one way or the other, I cannot trust the book. Everyone would be dismissed. No Bedin Shel Mala, no nothing. No Tzaddik, no Rasha, no nothing. Why? There's no way to practice the law. That's, by the way, the argument that I used with the priest. When I had this debate with him 4 years ago, I told him, after I proved to him that the New Testament is all baloney, is full of mistakes and full of errors, I asked him a question. This is what I told him. I told him, if I came to this room tonight and I brought a diamond with me, $100 million diamond, perfect diamond, color, perfect, symmetric, beautiful diamond. All of you knew in advance that I'm about to bring this famous diamond, the most famous diamond in the world. So you went to Russia. The Russians are expert in imitating diamonds. Very high quality of cubic zirconia. Very, very, even professionals sometimes cannot tell the difference. So you all went there and you bought for $20 an exact imitation of my diamond. Exact. But it's $20 and this is $100 million. So when I presented my diamond in front of all of you got up and threw the diamonds, your fake diamonds at me. I got nervous, I fell on the floor, and now there's 100 diamonds right here on the floor, and I'm looking for my diamond, and it's one of the 100. I don't know which one. What happened to my $100 million diamond? It became a $20 object. Yeah, there is somewhere here, there is $100 million laying here. But since we cannot point which one, no one in the world would buy any one of the diamonds for any price, because we do not know. There's a higher chance that it's fake diamond. So I say to him, even if God gave you a Brit Chadasha, a New Testament, which is very silly because it contradicts completely the Torah, and Hashem saying no one can change a letter from the Torah. But even if he did, there are more than 200,000 different versions, different texts. Each New Testament is different than the other. So which one was the original one? We will never know. Here, 200,000 books. One of them is divine, let's say. Which one? There's no way to know. So even if you want to practice Christianity, there's no way. That's what would happen to us if we're going to start having mistakes in the text. Plus, I'll give another example. Number of the stars in universe. 400 years ago, Galileo Galilei raised his telescope. It was the year 1608 Leminyanam, 400 years ago, 404 years ago. There was 6 feet telescope. Up to that moment, everyone in the world was swearing there's maximum 8,000 stars. Why? People were standing on mountains and counting the number of the stars. They count between 6,000 and 8,000. How many stars you can count manually? The Goyim, which admit that they believe in the Torah, they're not denying the Torah is the word of Hashem. When they wanted to get the Jews upset, they used to come to the Jews and say, you claim that the Torah doesn't have mistakes. You're making fun at our book. But we can also make fun at your book. Where did God bless Avraham Avinu or he cursed him? According to the verse, Hashem said to him, I will multiply your children, your descendants, like the sands on the ground and like the stars in the universe. Sand on the ground, you know there's trillions, cannot count how much. But stars, 8,000 people? What kind of a blessing is this? To have a nation of 8,000 people. It's not one street in Borough Park have more people. This is the nation of the blessing of Abraham Avinu. It's a contradiction in a pasuk. In one hand, he's blessing him to have trillions of people. On the other hand, he's cursing him to have only 8,000 children. You have to make up your mind. Because they will show what we can see. That's what exists. So the Jews say to them, you go by the written Torah. Who can understand one verse from the written Torah? Nobody. You have to go to the oral Torah. You go to Masechet Brachot, page 32. Brachos Lamed Bet. What does it say over there? Amra Knesset Israel Lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Knesset Israel, after the destruction of second Bet HaMikdash, second temple, they had a question for Hashem. And they say, Ribono shel Olam, האדם נושא אישה בשנית וזוכר מעשה ראשונה ואתה עזבתנו ושכחתנו. Translation, a person get remarried, he still never forget his ex-wife. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, he was married to some Miriam or Rachel. He can't forget that, can't take it out of his head. And you, Hashem, are so angry at us that you forgot about us and neglected us completely. So the Gemara say, Amar la HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem answered, Biti, my daughter. Biti means an expression of love. Biti, Yud Bet Mazalot Barati Barakia. 12 section I created in universe. That's where the horoscope comes from. All the signs that the Goyim has comes from the Gemara. This is the source. Yud Bet Mazalot Barati Barakia. 12 sections I created in universe. ובכל מזל בראתי לו 30 חיל. In each one of the sign of the sections, I created 30 armies. ובכל חיל וחיל בראתי לו 30 ליגיון. In each one of the 30 armies, I created 30 legions. ובכל ליגיון וליגיון בראתי לו 30 רעתון. ובכל רעתון בראתי לו 30 קרתון. ובכל קרתון בראתי לו 30 גיסטרה. ובכל גיסטרה וגיסטרה תליתי בו 365,000 ריבו כוכבים, וכולם לא בראתי אלא בשבילך. ואת אמרת, עזבתנו ושכחתנו? Translation. I created 12 sections in heaven. In each one, 30 army. In each army, 30 legion. In each legion, 30 raton. In each raton, 30 karaton. In each karaton, 30 gistera. In each gistera, 365,000 multiplied by 10,000. Ribo means revava, 10,000. Ribo kochavi, stars. And all of that I created for you. Who is you? The nation of Israel. And you have the nerve to tell me that I forgot about you and neglected you? So now let's do the math. 12 times 30, times 30, times 30, times 30, times 30, times 365,000. Add 4 more zero of 10,000, revava. It gives us 1 to the power of 19 stars. 1 and 18 digits. Very, very long. Quadrillion. There's some number that nobody knows how to say it. This is the number of the stars in the universe. When was it written? In the Talmud. In the time of the Talmud, there was one lousy telescope. Who had it? Rabban Gamliel. Imagine now, your wife brought tissue, not tissue, a paper towel. After you finish the paper, you have this tube. So you're standing here in Borough Park, and you go like this with the tube, and your friend say, hey, Moshe, what are you doing? You say, I can tell you who is walking 40 blocks away from here with this tube. So you tell him, what, you normal? How can you see? We cannot see 2 blocks away. 2 blocks we can see. נגמר הסר, רבן גמליאל הייתה לו שפופרת, שהיה מביט בה, ורואה ל2,000 אמה ביבשה, ו2,000 אמה בים כנגדה. 2,000 amas. And 2,000 amas, 4,000 amas. 4,000 amas is about 2 kilometers. 40 blocks in Manhattan. What was that? A tissue tube? A paper towel? No, it was a telescope. Very primitive. So he looked at the telescope and he saw people coming from far away. But it definitely wasn't the NASA telescope. So NASA today, if you search stars, or Britannica, you put stars, you find 10 to the power of 19 stars. We don't really care what they say. They can say 10 to the power of 19, 10 to the power of 21. Who cares? The idea is that when the Torah was given, nobody could dream about such a number. Because all you can do is count 8,000 stars. Who would be so foolish to write in a book such a number that they put him in mental institution? This one is crazy. Look what number he came with. If a person would fake this book, why would they write such a weird number? People would throw rocks at him. Go, Meshuggah, go away from here. Right? And there's thousands of examples like this. Let me give you one more example, and maybe we'll give some time for questions. The renewal of the moon. It's critical for Judaism. If we won't know the renewal of the moon, that's it, the Torah is lost. We won't know holidays, we won't know nothing. We went to fast, Yom Kippur, Pesach, nothing. So in the old days, before the grandson of Hillel wrote the calendar that we have today, the Jewish calendar, it was done manually. 2 witnesses are coming, and they say that we just saw the renewal of the moon. They announce Rosh Chodesh, they send messengers to Syria, to all kinds of places on a horse, and they announce when was Rosh Chodesh. But how did they know when to look for it? Like we do today. On Shabbos we announce, the Molad will be Wednesday, 4 o'clock and whatever, a few minutes. So we know, based on the calculation, we know when to expect Rosh Chodesh. But it can move. It's not precise, like today we know to the second. But in the old days, they know approximately one day it should be Rosh Chodesh. So now, the Torah said that Rabban Gamliel was sitting in a building. He's inside the building, and many witnesses came that day. It was a cloudy day, and they all testified that it's Rosh Chodesh today. We just saw the renewal of the moon. So if you have 2 witnesses, it's enough. 2 kosher witnesses, they're in the list, they're not kofrim. You have to announce Rosh Chodesh. But Rabban Gamliel told them it cannot be. All of them, standing in a bed din, he told them it cannot be. Why? Listen what he says. En chidusha shel levana, the renewal of the moon can never be less than 29 yom הוא מחצה ושני שלישי השעה ו73 חלקים. Translation, 29 days and a half, it's 12 hours. 29 days and 12 hours. 2/3 of the hour is 40 minutes. 73 חלקים, it's about 2 minutes and something. So it comes to be 29 days, 12 hours, 42 minutes and few seconds. That's the calculation. So the renewal of the moon will never be less than this number. What does it give us in math? 29.530590. That's the calculation. 29.530590. That's the minimal cycle that the moon will never be ever renewed less than this number, ever. One day, the American agency, NASA, decided to measure, based with their satellites and billions of dollars and thousands of employees, they decided to investigate what's the cycles of the moon. So they're beginning to do the research, which took many years. And they published the research. They say the Earth-Moon system, the minimal cycle of the moon that appears to us, 29.530590. 590,588. The Torah say 590,588. I believe if you take a second and break it to 10,000 pieces, and you take 2 pieces out, that's the difference between them and the Torah. Which Torah? The oral Torah, not the written Torah. It's in the Gemara. And Chidusha shel Levana, the renewal of the moon, will never be less than 29 days and a half, and it's in the Gemara. It's not a pasuk in the Torah. For those who have doubts in the Gemara, it's divine, not divine, here is a proof that it could never be given by a person. So, 1965, the Germans decided to do their own research. 1965 in Berlin, and they came up with their results, who gave 29.530589. What's the difference? 1/10,000 of a second. Very, very close. A few years ago, I had one scientist in my lecture. He told me they already upgraded it to the number you say. I never found the source. One way or the other, it's not relevant. The question is, what human being was able 2,000 or 3,000 years ago to write about the renewal of the moon when we didn't even have a pocket calculator? You know, when I was a kid, we had a calculator. If you put a long number, multiply by a long number, E. That's it. He has a little brain, this calculator. He can't really think. In the old days, no calculator, no ways to measure such numbers. How do they know what they said over there and counting the second, how the moon is moving? How do they know? That's divine information. And many other examples like this. Now I want to talk about one last thing, and we'll give you some time for questions. In the written Torah, we have something that is amazing. It's called codes in the Torah. Hidden, mathematical, minimal. Remember the word minimal, it's crucial. Hidden, mathematical, minimal, equal, skips. Again, hidden, mathematical, minimal, equal, skips. 5 conditions in order for it to be divine. 4, it's not divine. 5, it's divine. I'll explain. If a person asks you, can you prove to me that the Torah is divine without a DVD, without laptop, without seminar? Right now, here is the Torah. Prove to me that it's divine. Here, show me in the text that it's divine. You open the Torah, you take a little pencil, you say, Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Bereshit, finish with the letter Taf. You circle the Taf, and you begin to count. Bereshit bara. So what's the first letter you're counting? The bet of the second word. Bara. Bet, resh, aleph, it's 3. Elokim. So you begin to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You count 49 letters after the Taf of the Bereshit, and you circle the 50th letter. What are you going to get? Vav. You count 49 letters. The 50th letter would be resh. You count 49 letters. The 50th letter will be Hey. What are we getting? In the first page of the Torah, we get the word Torah, hidden in equal, mathematical, minimal code. What does it mean, minimal? If you take any code, if you put to the computer an entire text, the entire text of a book, the Torah has 304,805 letters. If you put the entire text of the Torah into the computer and you ask the computer to find a certain word, the computer may find it 20, 30, or 50 times in different skips. But the larger the skip is, the more random it is. It's not an indication that it was a plan. It can happen by coincidence. That's statistic. The more number you throw out, the more sequences you have over there. But when we say to the computer, only give me the minimal, I want to see it in one page. I want it concentrated. The writer of the Torah, I want to see how he planted it and put it together in a page that relates to the same topic. For instance, we put the word AIDS into the computer. AIDS, it's a disease. People die from it. The computer searched all over. Where did he find it? in Parashat Noach, that's speaking about Mishkav Zachar. Right there, because it's connected. Then we put HaShoah, the Holocaust. The Holocaust. And then we put all the names of the Nazis, Ghetto, Final Solution, all in Hebrew, we put in a computer. The computer found all the words that relate to the Shoah, HaShoah, the Holocaust, in equal mathematical skip of 49, where, of course, in a page that describes a Holocaust. ויאמר השם אל משה, הנך שוכב עם אבותיך, וקם העם הזה וזנה אחרי אלוהי נכר, ויאמר אין אלוקים בקרבנו, וזה, וחרה פי בהם, all this describing a Holocaust from A to Z, right there. All the Holocaust is described in hidden skips. Right there, not anywhere else. I'll give you another example. The Torah says that Hashem warned us not to go after fake gods. So what does it say? ועבד שם אלוהים אחרים, עץ ואבן. The pasuk speaking about God of wood and God of stone. How many times the Torah used this expression, the God of the wood, Maaseh Yedei Adam, the God of the wood, the God of the stone? Right there. When we go into this verse that warned the Jews not to follow fake religions, which religions the Jews follow? Mainly Christianity and Islam. That's the two biggest religions in the world. Right there, you have the word Imach Shimo V'Zichro, Yud Shin Vav, the name of their false Messiah. It's in that text in equal skip of 49. Yud, Shin, and Vav. In that verse, that's speaking about fake gods. And in the same verse, you have the word Mecca. Mem, Chaf, Hey, in equal skip of 49. What's the chance that 1300 years before Christianity started, 1800 years before Islam started, no Islam, no Christianity in the world when the Torah was given, Hashem is warning the Jews, be careful not to follow God of the wood, God of the stone. Which wood? What the Christians say, knock on wood. That's the wood, the cross that they have. And the Muslim, the stone in Saudi Arabia, in Mecca. That's the big rock. That's the symbol of Islam. Those two fake religions, inside a verse that's speaking about fake religion in equal mathematical minimal skip, and it's not random, because it's exactly connects to the topic. And how many examples like this I have? Thousands. Thousands of names that describe events that happening in our time inside the Torah in equal mathematical minimal skip. Now, why do I say minimal? It's very important. If you take out the word minimal, everyone can play with their books as much as they want and find all kinds of things. Why? 10,000 letter skip, 20,000 letter skip. You can find anything you want. That's not a plan. That's not a pattern. We want a plan. We want to see that the writer of the book on purpose designed it this way. And the larger it is, the more random it is. But when it's all in one page, I'll give you an example. We just had Tu B'Shvat 2 weeks ago. There is more than 50 words that connects to Tu B'Shvat, all of them in one page in the Torah in equal skips. Where Vayita Adam Etz, Hashem told Adam, watch the garden, Gan Eden. He put Adam in Gan Eden, and he told him, take care of the garden and all the trees. The subject of Adam and the garden and the trees and the forest, right in this page, you have all the Shivat HaMinim, all the words, all the fruits you know. Everything connects to fruit and trees and garden and forest, all in one page in equal skip. Cannot be coincidence. And many examples. Now, I'll finish the example I gave. So you say, okay, in Bereshit you found the word Torah. What about Shmot? Shmot. No problem, let's go for Shmot. Ve'ele Shmot Bnei Israel, right? That's how it starts. From the word Shmot, you circle the Taf, you count 49 letters, you get Vav. 49 letters Resh, 49 letters Hey. Again, Torah in equal skip. Beautiful. What about Vayikra? Put Vayikra on hold 1 minute. Let's skip to Bamidbar. Bamidbar, again Torah, but this time from left to right. Also an equal 49 skip, 49, but this time in reverse. Tav, 49 letters reverse, Vav, 49 letters reverse, Resh, 49 letters reverse, Hey. Let's go to Dvarim, same thing. Torah in reverse. Tav, Vav, Resh, Hey, 49 letters in reverse. Why I say leave Vayikra on hold for a minute? We go into Vayikra, we find something very interesting. Over here we found the name of Hashem. Yud, Hey, Vav, and the Hey. In equal skip of 7. The center of the world is like we have a menorah with 5 candles. The center of the menorah, the foundation connects, that's Hashem. What surrender Hashem, this entire world? Torah. Hashem and the Torah, that's it. So Torah in equal skip of 7 times 7, which is 49. Hashem in equal skip of 7. We make Kiddush. Vaychulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzva'am. In this pasuk, you have the word Israel, Eden in equal skip of 7. Yud, 7 letters. Shin, look in the Kiddush and Sidur. So when you do Kiddush, 7 letter Shin, 7 letter Resh. You can see it in my video on the screen. 7 letter Aleph, 7 letters Lamed. Israel appear in a verse who talks to the nation of Israel to keep the 7th day, and they hidden in a verse in equal skip of 7, not 9. Also would be beautiful. No, but the subject is Shabbat. Why the Torah was given on Shabbat? The arguments, the 6th day of Sivan, the 7th day, we know the argument in the Talmud. But everyone agreed that it was given on Shabbat. Why Hashem bothered us on Shabbat to come and to receive the Torah? He couldn't make it on Tuesday. It has to be on Shabbat to receive the Torah. Why the foundation of Judaism is Shabbat? If a person keeps Shabbat k'ilchata, mochalim lo kol avonotav. How can it be? A person is such a rasha, but just because he keeps Shabbat 100%, Hashem is willing to waive all his sins? Why? Without that, you're not a Jew. מחלל שבת הרי הוא כגוי לכל דבר. And one more thing, many people arguing which kedusha is higher, the kedusha of Shabbos, the kedusha of life, or the kedusha of Eretz Israel. So if you ask the Frum Tzionim, what we call Kippot Srugot, the Mizrachi and the movements that they have, they're willing to swear that the holiness of Eretz Israel is the most important thing. Tov lamut be'ad artzenu. I have to give my life, let the Arabs slaughter me, as long as I sit in Gaza, in Jericho, in all these places, it's worth it. That's what Hashem wants. That's their ideology. You ask other kind of Frum people, say, no, ma pitom. Pikuach nefesh is more important than anything. So if your life is in a risk, you don't have to jeopardize you and your family and live in a dangerous area with the monsters around you. So you can move to any safe place. And if there's no safe places in Eretz Israel, you live in Brooklyn. That's it. That's the halacha. Pikuach nefesh. Where Shabbat falls in, if we have to rate the 3 holiness, 3 kedushot, Shabbat, life, and Eretz Israel, how would you rate it? The most important one. Which one of the 3 is the highest kedusha? Life, right? Who agree wife? Who agree life? Not that many people. Shabbos or life? What do you think? Technically, we must say life. Why? Pikuach nefesh, doche Shabbos. So if we have to save someone's life, safek pikuach nefesh, 1% chance that he'll die. High fever, headache, strong headache, he got a hit by the wall. Chas v'shalom, he can die. We must violate Shabbat to save his life. But maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's a little migraine. We don't know. Maybe he's a Jew, maybe he's not a Jew. Mefakchim alav tagal. It's covered with bricks. We don't even know. Maybe it's Ahmed from the Hamas. I chilalti Shabbat for a monster like you. That's the halacha. He didn't chilal Shabbat. It's mitzvah. Why? Safek. So the question is, technically, it shows that life is above Shabbat. Wrong. Shabbat is higher than life. We have Shabbat, life, and Eretz Israel. Why? The Gemara says, the only reason you're allowed to violate my Shabbat to save someone's life is because of this concept. Chalel alav Shabbat achat, כדי שישמור שבתות הרבה. In order for him to keep many Shabbatot. Yachid verabim, the rabim is higher. That's the only reason. So you may tell me, based on what you say, we're not allowed to save secular people. Chalel Shabbos, driving a car on Shabbos, and he got in an accident. I'm not allowed to mechalel Shabbat, because anyway he's not keeping Shabbat. So why should I save him that he's going to be mechalel more Shabbatot? So the answer is, you don't know. Maybe it's tinok shenishba and he's not guilty. Number one. Number two, maybe when the car hit him, what happened to a person when he see that one leg is already in Gehenom? He screamed, Hashem, help me. I had a guy came to my house for Yom Kippur. First he started to come to my lecture. I used to give lectures 8-9 years ago in East 14th Street. A lot of Israeli used to come, all of them Chilonim. Started at 9 o'clock in the evening, finished 5 o'clock in the morning. Mamash like a train station. People left, new people coming. Like this, in and out. So one guy from Israel, he started to become Shomer Shabbat, and I invited him for Yom Kippur. After the davening of a Friday night, I think it was on Shabbat or Erev Yom Kippur, so we sit in the deck in my house, we talk a little bit, and then he tells me how he started to come to the lecture in first place. He was working for a big drug dealer here, and he was transferring suitcases full of drugs for him. Every transfer he does, $20,000. Young guy in his 20s, making fortune. So what happened? One time he went to LA. From Mexico, they smuggled drugs, and he has to bring the drugs to New York. 50,000 pills inside. 40 years in prison minimum if they catch him with this suitcase. But he was those days, that we're talking more than 10 years ago, they were not so advanced like today with the machines and everything. So he wants to come on a plane with a suitcase. So what happened is that he got a phone call, don't go on a plane, you have to take buses. Buses. So he took a bus, he's changing buses. He arrived, I think, to Pennsylvania somewhere. He's on a bus. He has the suitcase under his chair in a bus. And all of a sudden, FBI gets on the bus. They all have the badges with flashlights. They're looking for someone. He said, that's it, someone turned me in. And he's the last person in the bus, the last on the left side. They go all over, they look at people. They have a picture of someone they're looking for. So there's one guy in the front door, and one guy got in the middle, and they don't let anyone leave the bus. They're checking each bus over there. So he comes to him, he looks at him like this. So he started to sweat and shake. So he told him, what you got there in a suitcase? He asked him, the guy. So he told him, my personal stuff. He said, open it up. Let me see. Open it up. Now this is a complete Chiloni. It's keeping anything. No kosher, no Shabbos, no Yom Kippur, no nothing. He turned down. He said, Hashem, if you save me now, I'll give you my life for the rest of my life. In the hospitals, everyone is religious. When my brother broke his arm, the Goyim used to run to me. When the black guy, Rabbi, can you come bless my father? In the end, he was a Jew. Yeah, but they didn't even know they're Jews. In the last minute, he remembered that he thinks they're Jewish. That's the kind of people. One way or the other, in hospital, everyone is religious. Doesn't matter what you are, Jew, non-Jew, they run to you, come, give me a blessing. Two things make a person religious right away. A bad MRI and a letter from the IRS. What hundreds of seminars and CDs don't do, Gdola Sarat HaTabat. Then Achashverosh took his ring and gave it to Haman, to Ahmadinejad. Everyone became religious. This Haman, Ahmadinejad, he went to Egypt today. One Arab from Syria was standing behind him and hitting him with his shoe. You have to see that. He was hitting him on the head with the shoe. I say, what a fool. Anyway, they'll destroy him now. At least kill him. They already hit him with the shoe. Take a hammer, break his head. He reached his head. standing behind him and hitting him like this. And they arrest him. What a fool. Anyway, they'll destroy you now. Do it right. What do you expect from a Mustafa? Anyway, so the ring that Ahasuerus took and gave it to Haman, everyone became full. Everyone became... So what happened with this guy? We told him, open it. So he said, I move very slow, I pick it up, I put it on a chair, I open the zipper, that's it. Another second, I go like this, my life is over. Then another FBI agent comes and say, hey, Joe, we got him. Right away, turn around, he started to run. You good? Then I have to keep my promise. So I started to come to the lecture. I heard there's a shiur, and then it became a Baal Tshuva. The point is to do it because of the truth, not because Hashem saved you from a miracle like Menashe. That's already the lowest level. Okay, let's give some time for questions. Even things that we did not speak about. Any questions you have, now it's the time. Please. Yes?
You said before that the Shama looks like a person, right?
In the image of a person, yes.
Yes, but meanwhile, you also said there's somebody Gilgulim. So how do you explain?
The last Gilgul. The Neshama always look like the last Gilgul. Also, you have to know one thing. There's a famous question when the Tchiyas HaMetim will take place. Which body will rise? So there's two answers to that. The Neshama doesn't come completely in a Gilgul. Only a part of the Neshama. Neshama can split to 1,000 bodies, the Ari explained. Like in Moshe Rabbeinu is a Gilgul of Hevel. And Cain came back in Gilgul of Yitro. Cain killed Hevel for having two twins, so now he came with a woman, which is Tzipora. But the other half of Cain came in the body of the Mitzri, of the Egyptian that Moshe killed. So now you see, and Neshama came back in the same generation in two different bodies. That's an example from the Torah. The Rabbi Akiva came back as Ramchal. We believe the Rashash, the Yemenite Rashash, we have Ashkenazi Rashash, we have Yemenite Rashash. The Ari said, if Hashem will give me permission, I will return back. We believe the Rashash is the Ari that came back 250 years later. Now, which one of these bodies would rise? It could be all of them. It's Ner Le'echad, Ner Le'mea. It can be 100 different bodies, one person, Akiva. 1,000 bodies, Yochanan. 500 bodies, Yitzchak. Or the body that is the most righteous body. But whatever Hashem decides. The body that gave the Neshama less resistance, he means he mekadesh et HaChomer the most. Based on that, this is the body will have the schut of rising. But you have to also know, not everyone is getting up in the resurrection of the dead. Tchiyas HaMetim, כתוב, ורבים מישני עפר יקיצו. Many of the dead people will rise back to life. Many, but not everyone. Also, not all Jews will see Mashiach. It say, ובא לציון גואל, לשווה פשע ביעקב, only to the ones who made tshuva. Also, it says in a Navi that after the Mashiach would come, it says, she'erit Israel, the leftover, what will be left from the nation of Israel, Hashem Yirachem, like the Yetziat Mitzrayim, 80% got wiped out. What would left, she'erit Israel, לא יעשו עוולה, ולא יכחשו, ולא ידברו כזב בפיהם. Those Jews who would survive when Mashiach comes, which means many will not survive, just like the Zohar says, just like in Yetziat Mitzrayim, only very little will survive. Those who will survive will be so clean that they cannot say a lie, or to change, or to say something fake. They'll be so holy and clean and clear, only these tzaddikim would survive. This has put us in a very serious problem, because we keep mitzvot, we learn Torah. The question is, are we 100% honest in business, in our language, in all kinds of things that we do? That's a very serious thing. So Hashem expect, Mi ya'ale be'ar Hashem, Chazal explain, neki kapayim uvar levav. All these things. Okay, more questions.
Can you come next week?
I'm booked all the way to Pesach, but maybe after. I want to encourage each one of you If you have access to the internet, you have all my lectures on my website for free. More than 1,000 lectures you have. You can connect iPhone or Android and get everything on the app free of charge. If you don't have access, or you go and visit someone who has computer, he can download the lectures for you. If not, you can order all my CDs for cost price of $1 each, that's it. We want to spread as much as Torah we can. Each CD has 30 hours of lectures. Each DVD has between 3 and 4 hours of lectures in video. So it's very inexpensive, and it's mitzvah. There's a lot of people who need. I have lectures about emunah, confidence in Hashem, all kinds of things, but believe me, the most frum person can become chazak from it. And I have a lot of, Baruch Hashem, since I started to be on the radio here, every Tuesday, I have a lot of frum people, rabbanim, people from yeshivas all their life, that they said that the lecture changed their entire approach, their entire life. I will finish with one short story. About 2 months ago, I got a phone call of Friday afternoon. You know, I live in Muncie. It's about 2.5 hours to get here. So I live in Muncie. Friday around 11, 12 in the afternoon, I get a phone call from Flatbush. A number, I think, 339 something. So an Ashkenazi Jew, American, he's on the line. He tell me, can you do a big mitzvah? I said, what's the big mitzvah? So he said, there's one Yid, he's dying here in the hospital. He has a few hours to live. His liver don't work. The doctors give him 3-4 hours to live. His last request is he wants to meet you in person. He doesn't know where I live. He calls my number, 917. He doesn't know where it is. I told him, I wish I could do it, but it's Erev Shabbos, and I live so far away from him. If I come there, I cannot go back home, if I make it before Shabbos. So he said, oh, I understand. So maybe you speak to him on the phone. I said, of course. So, okay, let me go up to his room in the hospital. He was in the street. Let me go up to his room, and I put you to speak to him. He was an old man in his 70s or in his 80s. You see, he has European accent. When he spoke to me, and he said, listen, I am all my life a Ben Torah. I grew up in yeshivot. All my life I learned. 67 years learning. Not Nu Baal Tshuva, we're talking here. And he said to me, all my life I thought I'm very close to Hashem and live by the emes. But the last year, I found out what does it mean to be a real kosher Jew, and I changed my entire life. I'm listening to the story. And he said, and it happened since I started to listen to you on the radio every Tuesday morning, because the way you explained the Torah was completely different than what I'm used to. All my life, I believe, I understand, kashya, terutzim, arguments, fine. All of a sudden, it became real for me. So I want to thank you for having the last year of my life, the last year. This is a Ben Torah. Why? Because it's many Bnei Torah, they think, these lectures are not for me. I'm already in Rashi, Tosfot, Maharsha, Aram Shir. I need these lectures. Believe it or not, every one of us needs it. And you wait and see. You listen to it. You listen to the Mesilat Yesharim, and you're going to write on a piece of paper how many of the things I speak about that we do wrong. All of us, no exception. Politics, racism, being cheap, no emunah, no nothing. And then you say, wow, maybe I live in a lie. The Gemara said Rabbi Yochanan, before he died, he was shaking. So the Gemara say, why was he worried about? All his life he learned Torah, 120 years. So I think it was Rav Chaim Shmulevitz, if I remember correctly, he said he was afraid that he lived all his life in mistake. All his life learned in a level that we can dream to learn. He was afraid that all his life he lived in mistake. He was crying as his Talmidim told him, give us a bracha before you leave us. So he told him, Yeh morah shamayim alechem kemorah bnei adam. You fear Hashem like you fear people. It looks like a joke. What kind of bracha he gave them? You're afraid of Hashem like you're afraid of the policeman Vinny on the street? He's hiding to give you a ticket? That's what you're blessing us? One time I drove home, 2 o'clock at night, Palisades Parkway, jungle, no cars on the highway. All of a sudden, we siren, red, you know, my heart started, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. God, this Nazi comes. Right. I felt my hands is shaking. That Chadai אני מזכיר היום. I started to feel, you know, like I'm losing control of my hands. Hey, driver's side. It's in front of my eyes, I cannot find it. My brain froze. After all that, He left. Now I'm on my way sitting in a car. I started to drive. I said, now I understand this Mara. If one time in my life I was afraid of a sin I made like I afraid that moment, what a tzaddik I would be. Not one person who chas v'shalom mechalel Shabbos. By mistake. One chilul Shabbos by mistake, it's bankruptcy in the old days. Korban Chatat, you have to come from Tiberia to Yerushalayim, Tveria, on a donkey. There's no road like today, sit in Mercedes and 2 hours later you're there. No. You have to come on a donkey, 1 week to get there. 1 week to come back. Go buy a goat, stand on line, give it to the Kohen. By the time you come back home, your business is bankrupt. Leave your business 2 weeks by the Goy, we'll see what's going to happen. One little, not intentional sin on Shabbos. Accidentally, you had the shirt, came from your jacket, makeba patish. You had a little stain on the tie. You went like this. Oh, Shabbos today, I didn't realize. In the middle of the night, the alarm went on, you're snoring. You click it. Then in the morning, you see the phone next to you. So, oh, I just touched the phone. In the middle of the night. That's Korban Chatat. Korban Chatat can cost you $500,000. What do you think? You lose your business. 10 years to build it. Till you get to Yerushalayim, until you come by. It's not a joke. The shogeg. 99% of the shogeg that we are sure is shogeg is 100% mezid. Check one by one and be honest. If you be a judge of a case like this, you'll be very machmir with that person. Oh, shogeg? I'll give it to you 100% mezid. What's the, yeah?
Two questions. First of all, the guy Sniftar or?
Yeah, and it's nifta a few hours later.
Another question is it's a scary question actually, but regarding what happened in Israel with Rabbi Mizrachi and
Yeah.
we allowed to talk about it? You guys to write about it?
You can talk about it. What's already known to everyone, you can talk about it. What's the point of talking about it now? I think it's too late now.
No, not this, just opinion as what I hear from one side that Rabbi Mizrachi was judged without
I'll tell you, I'll cut it very short. You have one rabbi who is a big machzir b'tshuva, who made thousands of people religious and have a lot of zchuyot. Nobody can argue this. But someone who has the talent and influence from Hashem to speak to secular people, hypnotize them, and get them to be interested in learning Torah and become shomer mitzvot, it's a gift that Hashem gives this person. You can be a big gadol in the Torah and you don't know how to make people religious. And you can be an average learner and have this gift that almost everyone you talk to right away becomes shomer Shabbat. That's your mission in life, and Hashem gives this yata d'ishmaya in your plan, in your purpose. But that doesn't mean that you have to forget who you are and all of a sudden put yourself in a list of Rav Steinman, Rav Ovadia, Rav Wozner, Rav Kanievsky, etc. You're not in this league. You're not even 1% of this league. We have to know who we are. Yeah, you can learn Gemara, you can speak beautiful, you can hypnotize the people. People will listen to you and enjoy more than Dolador, maybe. Doesn't mean you're in his league. It doesn't mean. You know, some Dolador could be a great, huge, amazing brain. If he speaks, regular lecture. You come and Avrech, 30 years old, is shocking everyone. This does mean he's a Gdol Torah. That means he's a Dat Torah. I think he a little bit forgot where he is. He has tons, millions of zchuyot, fine. But you don't go into a war against someone who learned Torah 90 years and is a genius, as his brain, and with holiness and kedusha and everything he established, at least for the Sephardim people all over the world, and you argue with him, and they ask you if he will tell you not to go to the Knesset, would you go? He said, I will run faster. Yes. Yeah, I heard that in my own ears. I heard that in my own ears and saw it in my own eyes that that's what he said. No, you can cut what he said not to say, but when a person speaks, you can cut as much as you want. Bottom line, listen. Bottom line, every one of us has to remember where he belongs and not to forget our real level. You understand? If a person is multi-millionaire and he gives millions of dollars to yeshivot, and thanks to him, thousands of people learn Torah, and he have 1 billion mitzvot a year, but he's still an Am Haaretz. So what he became? He became the Mara Deatra because he sponsored 5,000 people? You have to understand, there's zchuyot, there is reward, it could be in the highest level in Olam Haba. I'm not saying no, but you are not bar plukta with one of these giants that learned 80, 90 years non-stop and they wrote hundreds of books. You're not in this level. You have to remember this.
I'm sorry, but why did he have a go against you? He never said he was against.
This argument, Uri, can take hours, but believe me, I investigated very good. What I told you is based on what I see, not rumors. I don't talk about rumors. Any more questions before we're done? That's it, everything. You're tired already, too long. Thank you very much. Next CDs, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.